So, my name's Katy Lieffers. Who am I, and how did I get to the Sunshine Coast? Well, it all started when I was about 10 years old. My parents and I flew to England for a month to care for my grandmother who was dying of lung cancer. I didn't really fully understand at the time, being 10 years old. I remember they wouldn't let me see her, but the home care nurses there would come and go from the house, not only providing care to my nan, but offering compassion and support, a kind, warm glance or a cup of tea. And she had the honor of passing at home surrounded by her loved ones. I felt helpless at the time and swore to myself that I would learn to support those I loved if ever the need came, which led me into nursing. Fast forward to about 2004, married and fresh out of nursing school. My mentor at the time was a nurse by the name of Diana, and she was what we call old school. Her standards were exceptional, and she cared incredibly for the patients, doctors, and staff on the unit. She encouraged me and had a way about her that made one believe they had all the answers, they just needed to be asked the right question. She gave me the courage to expand my horizons and reach for my potential, which I'm still really grateful for today. After I worked every inch of that hospital, I moved over to Surrey Memorial, where I got my first real taste of home care. My job entailed supporting complex discharges and connecting patients and families to home care resources prior to them going home. I loved the critical thinking and creative planning that came out of my time there. But after the Olympics, the construction industry died, so my husband lost his job and we went off to Alberta. From there, my career actually really started to take off. I entered into leadership for transition services right out of the gate in a brand new health authority. And then that led me to become a manager for the medicine program, knowing that my goal was to build on my knowledge of the system with each passing opportunity. Then my grandfather passed away suddenly while he was visiting my parents from England. He actually fell while he was on vacation here, and he ended up in the hospital at BGH. Unfortunately, there were complications on the day he was set to be going home, and I made it back to BC just in time to watch the code team perform CPR on him. This was a hard one for me. It taught me a kind of vulnerability and understanding of patients and families that I had never experienced before. How challenging it can be to navigate the system. When I ask myself why leadership, I land on the word curiosity. I want to understand why the healthcare system functions as it does and embrace the uncertainty of our future and build a better system for those that require it and the staff that live it and work in it every day. Why is home best? Well, I think we've heard that already from Joanna and John. Who wouldn't really want to stay at home if they could? For some people, leaving their home can be disruptive and depressing. Being at home is simply more comfortable for most people than being in an unfamiliar place. They have their photographs, their books, their bath and their kitchen and their telephone and television, everything in its place, which studies have actually shown to improve emotional healing. Unlike the restricted visiting hours at hospitals and nursing homes, home provides a place where family and friends can be close. Patients tend to have a greater sense of well-being and an overall morale when they are in the comfort surroundings of their own home. Research has also shown that recovery can be faster at home than in the hospital. So what services are offered here on the Sunshine Coast? Home and community care services provide actually a range of healthcare and support services to people who have acute, chronic, palliative, or rehabilitative needs. You may need these services if you're released from hospital and need some short-term care. Maybe you have an ongoing chronic health issue that requires more care than you and your family can provide. Or maybe you have a health issue that is getting worse and you need support to continue to live at home. And maybe you have a health issue that is making it impossible for you to continue to live at home safely. How do you access our services? Well, I don't know if you know, but anybody can make a referral to home and community care. It can be a friend, it can be a neighbor, it can be your doctor. You just have to pick up the phone and call our office. Our number is right there, and I think our number is also in the brochure. When you call our office, you get our program admin staff. They will take down your information and open a referral to our team. And then someone from our team that's most appropriate will get involved with your care and follow up on based on what is required. Wait times are actually really dependent on the information that is provided, so it's really important to be as specific as possible. And it's based on a prioritization framework. Some people need care more urgently than others, so we do our best to treat those that need it first. Most people ask me, what does home care cost? Well, it kind of depends, which is most things in home care. Our clinical team, actually, with home care nurses, OTs, PTs, dietitian, case managers, they come at no cost. If you're on something called guaranteed income supplement or palliative benefits, then there's actually no cost for home support services. But if you're on CPP and OAS, then there most likely will be a cost. For assisted living, costs are about 70% of your yearly income, divided over the 12 months. And then for long-term care, it's a little bit more, it's 80%. But it's also really important to let your team know if the cost for service is a hardship. There are ways to look at your information a little bit more closely, so you just have to let one of our team know. So some amazing things actually have happened in home care. Luckily, I have been a part of this change and quite honored. The Ministry of Health has given us an influx of funding this last year. We have grown quite substantially here locally. We had initially at the beginning of the year received an influx of funding for our OTs and our PTs. So we got actually 3 new positions. We actually, for the first time, got a clinical resource nurse, so an educator for our staff on the Sunshine Coast for home care services. And her role is to provide elbow-to-elbow support to all of our team members. We also got increased funding to our 2 palliative care resource nurses, so they went up in hours and were given more opportunities to provide teaching to the community. We also got increased funding to our home care nurses and expansion to our palliative hours. So now we are available up till 9 p.m. at night, 7 days a week. Another amazing thing happened towards the end of this year. We got increased funding for our home support workers and an additional sponsorship opportunity through CAPU, where up to 20 individuals are being provided coverage for tuition, materials, and books for the health care aid course in return for 18 months of full-time service within home and community care. We also got increased funding in multiple positions for our schedulers and LPN supervisors, and they provide coordination and support to our community health workers. We also received funding for a full-time community liaison worker, which is new for us on the coast, and they support reablement of seniors and assist with supporting clients that have no support network. We also received 2 full-time LPN community care management positions to support our clients with mild to moderate needs, which will ultimately reduce our caseloads for our RN case managers. If only I had known. Please do your taxes. Without them, it actually makes it really difficult to access services because we need that information to know how to move forward. Make a plan. It's really important to pursue a power of attorney or a health rep. What are your wishes? And try to be prepared as possible. There is a counterpart of home and community care in the hospital. So we actually can provide support and help with planning on discharge. There's a whole team that actually works together on a daily basis to discuss discharge planning and setting supports up. Community matters so much. Your family, your neighbors, your local community groups, other resources in the community, every little bit helps to keep you at home. Another thing is fall detection devices. It can literally save your life, particularly if you're home alone or you're worried about your loved one while you go out and do your shopping. There's many options out there. And our goal in home care is to keep you home and to respect your wishes. And this is just a list of resources out there for you to access, and it's included in your brochures. Thank you for your time.